Hi all, welcome back to the final whistle then for the match preview. Leicester City take on Everton, and what an absolutely massive game this one is then. I know it's only 5 games in, but this one is a real encounter this weekend. Leicester looking for their first win under manager Steve Cooper in the Premier League, and yeah, this one I'm sure will be a tasty one. I'm going to be joined by the Athletics' Rob Tanner as we speak about Steve Cooper, Everton, Leicester City, and much more. We're going to also do a lineup builder, me and Rob, where we think the team's going to be at the weekend. But yeah, let's chat and let's get into everything. Sean, how are you, mate? Callum, how are you? Hijack, if Leicester win, we win. If we draw, a fair result. But if we lose, then we've got to go. The thing is, Callum, it's about winning at the weekend, mate. This one is a real must-win for the Foxes, and we can't afford to drop any more points in this one. I'm afraid, this one is it's like a 6-pointer, in it, should we call it? How people want to call it in football. So yeah, good, Sean. Good. Guys, as always, get involved. Hit the like buttons as well if you enjoy this stream. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed to the final whistle. Please get down and do so. It'll help me out massively. And let's get my guest on, Mr. Rob Tanner. Rob, how are you, mate?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very good. Rob, before we start, let everybody know what you do at The Athletic, mate, and let everybody know about your recent articles.
Yeah, I'm the Leicester City correspondent. I do other stuff, but I'm mainly the Leicester City correspondent with The Athletic, and I've been covering the club for 16 years for the Mercury and then The Athletic. So I'd normally do 2 to 3 Leicester features, in-depth looks at some topics that are going on per week, and we've done a couple this week where we've been looking at the role of Ndidi as a 10. We've done one on why Leicester have been their record for conceding first in the Premier League. I think they booked the trend at Palace. I think that was only the 4th time in 25 Premier League games where they haven't conceded the first goal. And today, we've done a bit on Steve Cooper's approach to everything this season, especially after the VAR controversy at Crystal Palace on the back of the David Coots outburst and the court cases. And yeah, it seems like there's a lot of fighting talk at Leicester at the moment.
Yeah, Jake, I'm all right, mate. Firstly, let's talk about that draw at Crystal Palace. It left bitter taste in Leicester City's mouth. Very close to getting that first win of the season. 2-2 draw. How do you digest that one?
Yeah, I mean, I actually thought Leicester were very good first half. I was very impressed. We were all looking, because obviously we saw the team come out and the reaction to Ndidi being the 10 and not El Kanous or Buonanotte being in that situation, in that position. But I thought he did really well because he was pressing high, winning the ball back in dangerous areas. So that when they were turning the ball over, they didn't have far to go to the goal. And I thought Palace was struggling to deal with the Leicester. And even in the second half, when they were piling on the pressure towards the end, I can't remember Mads Hermansen having a massive amount to do. They seem to be weathering the storm, but the rather controversial first goal back for Palace straight after Leicester had made it 2, and then hanging on at the end, the changes that Steve made just didn't work out in the end because of an individual error at the end. And you can debate whether that he made that error because he's had so little of pre-season, so little game time, and to come in that key moment and be that 3rd, 4th centre back as they were trying to see the game out. But it's just really, really unfortunate. I really felt for Connor because you could see him walking down the tunnel. He looked absolutely distraught. Vastly experienced player. It was just a shame really they couldn't come away with that first win of the season, because I thought out of all the games, that was the one where they probably did deserve it.
Absolutely must win all 3 points tomorrow. Yeah, I agree. Spoke to a lot of fans before the game. Some said they'd take a point. Some said, an optimistic 2-1 or something like that. I mean, we're very close to getting it. First
Mm.
half, I thought we were fantastic. The link-up play between Mavididi and Vardy, I thought were exceptional. Wilfred Ndidi came into his element in the game. I know people have criticised Ndidi in that role over the last few weeks, saying he's not really been great in that position. And then you look at Winks and Skip. I mean, them two a very good understanding of each other. Obviously, previous played at Spurs with each other, and yeah, them two I thought were fantastic. The ones I want to talk about though, Rob, is Fat and Akoli. I mean, them two had to put their bodies on the lines quite a lot in that game, and I thought they had a fantastic partnership in that game. What was your thoughts on some of the players?
I really liked Caleb. I really do like him from what I've seen of him so
Mm,
far. He looks solid. He makes good decisions. He doesn't try and win the ball all the time when he's going to just like Fars does do that. He tries to dive in front of the centre forward sometimes and commits himself, and that does leave him exposed. And I don't think actually Fars has had that particularly good a start to the season for me.
mm,
The piece I did about them conceding early goals or the first goal in games, I look back at the ones in a bit more detail this season, and there are times when he's completely out of position.
yeah.
The one at Fulham springs to mind when he followed the lad so deep that he completely left James Justin, then completely exposed 2-3-on-1 in the build up to the Smith Rowe goal. Didn't the Villa free kick? He was the other man on Onana. And
Mm,
Onana got the run on him, and he was still on the edge of the box when Onana was sweeping it into the. Yeah, I think Fars hasn't had a great start to this season, so he's a little bit of a worry for me at the moment. In terms of the people that stood out for me, we've talked about Wolf, and I agree with everybody that he's not a classic 10, and he wasn't
yeah.
really playing as a classic 10 anyway. People
Mm,
looked at it and said, "Well, that's a very defensive midfield three." But Harry Winks just sat in there. Skip showed great engine, great
yeah.
pace. He wasn't playing as a holding midfielder. He was getting the ball and driving from midfield. And I like that. Wilf is horses for courses in that position. When you're against the side that you away from home that are going to come at you a little bit, and he's very good at that. As I said, breaking the play early, so you can turn the ball over, and you haven't got so far to go in the counter attack to their goal. If you're playing him at home in a game like Everton, where he's going to have to find pockets of space and take the ball on the turn like Maddison and Fred passes, no, he's probably not that guy. I mean, then you're going to have to look at El Canus and Buonanotte, but there's issues around those two as well at the moment.
Mm,
I mean, Buonanotte's got this little groin issue that's been stopping him from training throughout the week, and El Canus is just getting adapted to his new teammates, the new style of play, understanding what his role is going to be. I mean, but I wouldn't be surprised if he played against Everton in that role because it's a different game. But if you're away from home and you want to break up play and you want to disrupt the opposition, Will's a good option in there for doing that. He's still got that athletic ability to get around. He can still pick a pass. I mean, the vision for the second goal from Mavididi, just to hook it back rather than go for goal himself because he was so
mm,
close to the line. He could have gone it himself, but he noticed that Mavididi would have an easy tap in, and he picked the right option. So yeah, Skip and Mavididi did well. I was really pleased for Mavididi playing because obviously they had to have Mavididi in. They had to change. So
yeah.
instead of it being Victor Christensen being the high fullback and James Justin being the third centre back, they did it the other way around. Now, whether Victor Christensen is a third centre back, that's debatable. James Justin getting forward, it was his cross that led to that second goal. So he
Yeah.
can get forward. He's got that athleticism about him. So but I thought Mavididi then playing wide, so that suited him very well. And Jordan Ayew playing in as a 10 behind Vardy, that suited him as well. And I thought he had a decent game, especially holding up the ball in difficult situations, like winning free kicks when
Mm,
Leicester are under pressure. He's quite good at getting his body between people and then taking the contact. So, he can buy you a few free kicks and relieve pressure. You want a bit more from him, though. You want in that final third, you want a little bit more. And he had a couple of good opportunities to score himself. So those are the ones that stood out for me.
yeah, Jordan Ayew, he's a workhorse, and he gives
Yeah, you know what
100%
you're going
in
to get
games.
with him. It might not be the top quality signing that everybody would have hoped for, but that would have cost
Yeah.
you millions and millions and millions. I mean, there's still people at Palace saying that Leicester have overpaid for him at 5 million. But if he does a job and they stay up, then it's 5 million well spent, I think.
Talk to me about one man, Jamie Vardy, back in the goals again.
Yeah.
Mark Guehi, well ahead of Vardy at that point. Vardy using his real pace and experience to get ahead of Guehi. Typical Vardy, clinical,
Yeah.
vintage Vardy, rounds the goalkeeper, scores, and yeah, he just loves a goal against Palace, doesn't he, Jamie Vardy? And it's good to see that, people write Jamie Vardy off season upon season. Is he finished? Can he still do it at the top league? Of course he can.
Well, if you look at that performance, I mean, for me, Mark Gay is the best English centre back in the Premier League at the moment.
Yeah, 65 million, Rob, they said.
He did ever so well for England.
Yeah.
But he had an uncomfortable afternoon against Vardy. I mean, Vardy's pace and his tenaciousness, to keep chasing, keep harassing them. That's what gets him some of his goals, because he makes people panic because they can sense he's near them, and it's not going to take much for him to get to them. So they panic, they make rush decisions and play poor passes and hesitate. And he's still the number one striker at the club. I mean, we haven't seen Hodgson at the moment. Obviously, Patson's injured. We haven't seen Hodgson yet, but he's eligible for Everton. He's somebody that Leicester have been looking at for a number of years before they signed Patson Daka. They were trying to get him from Celtic, but he's gone to Palace. And I wouldn't say he's pulled up any trees at Palace. So, there's still like a question mark over him coming to Leicester. But he will provide a different option. But Jamie Vardy's still the main man.
I think that's kind of what we missed against Palace second half. Like we hadn't had that big striker on the bench who we can just bring on to hold it up and then really hold them back. I think against Everton going forward, we can do that now if Vardy starts and then you bring someone like Edouard on who can hold the defence up and then get like people like Mavididi and that in behind. And I think that's a good option. I think talking to Crystal Palace fans last weekend about Edouard, they said he hadn't really had a chance at Palace. It's about he's not really had a consistency in run of games. He's probably had about 3-4 different managers, and they don't think it's worked out for him. They said it started really well for him when he joined from Celtic, but yeah, kind of went downhill. And they said if he can get a good run at Leicester, then maybe you could see a different striker in him in the Celtic element of where he was banging in the goals.
Yeah, let's hope so. I mean, I don't think Leicester have had that sort of effective target. I mean, Nottingham can run in behind as well. He's that sort of striker. He's not that classical number 9 target man. I mean, the best number 9 target man that I've seen since Steve Howard was Leo Ulloa. So he could play that role, but he didn't have the pace to get in behind afterwards. Like neither did Steve, and Steve would admit that. But Steve was a very good target man in the old classical sense. I expect Hodgson's going to be a little bit of a hybrid between the two. He will come and link play, but then it's up to him to have the drive to get into the box, to get on the end of it again. I mean, that's one thing you can never question about Vardy is the determination, the drive, and the hunger to get into the box and score goals. I think sometimes you watch Hodgson, sometimes he's hanging out a little bit, and you think, just get in there, you big beast of a man, get in there and cause some trouble. And that tentativeness. He needs to lose that. He needs to be fully committed to this move because, if he doesn't make it at Leicester and he's not really pulled up any trees at Palace, where's he go next?
This is it. Talk to me about Steve Cooper. How do you think it started? What players does he like? What players doesn't he like in the system? Talk to me about him.
Well, I did another feature last week where I was saying this. You can really see Cooper putting the mark on his mark on the team, his stamp on the team now. Because when he first come in, I think he was very respectful to what they achieved under Enzo last season. He didn't want to throw away everything that they achieved and start getting like some managers come in and they're arrogant and totally committed to their ideology, and whatever's gone before is wrong and everything's going to be right now because it's their way. I think Cooper's come in and looked at it and gone, okay, well, there's a style of play that some of these players are particularly comfortable in, possession based, playing through the lines. People like Harry Winks. But I think you've seen at the end of the transfer window, some of the signings that come in. He was respectful of the recruitment that was being done before then. The identifying of potential targets, and he stated that Martin Glover has done a lot of the work. But But then you can see like Ollie Skip coming in, and you're thinking, well, that worked with him at England under-17s, knows what he can do. People are going, well, we don't need another holding midfield player, but he's a different type of holding midfield player. So I think that was a Cooper signing. I certainly think Hodgson was towards the end of the window when they, trying to get him in. El Canoes was on everybody's radar. And I think talking to a few people in Belgium, they're quite surprised that he went for as little as he has done. But, let's see how he adapts to English football, Premier League. So I'm still watching and still figuring it all out. Obviously, we know the style of play. It's not completely dissimilar, but instead of the width coming from the two wingers, one fullback will provide it. It's still going into a 3. There's still 2 holding midfield players. It's not a massive transformation. It's a bit more pragmatic. There's a bit more energy about them, a bit more running. I mean, that is a big thing about Cooper's teams. If you're going to be in a Cooper's team, you've got to be able to run and work and be aggressive. And under Enzo, they were very much, it was all about the ball does all the work. I think Cooper's a little bit more British old school. You've got to get amongst it, you get about it. And another thing I've noticed, and I think he'd admit this himself, that I think he has in some press conferences, that he likes to put the emphasis on the players. Yeah. So where everything was drilled to the nth degree with Enzo, you go here in this scenario, you go there, and that's it was all, and he literally would physically move people around on the training pitch to drive home how they should be playing, and he drilled it into them all the way through that pre-season. Cooper's more like, this is how we're going to play, this is the philosophy, this is what we believe in. But when we get into these areas in the final third, it's up to you to make the decisions. It's up to you to be the creative player. Feel the moment and do what you want to do in that situation. So he puts more responsibility on the player. So that's what I've noticed as well. There's a little bit more freedom for the players. But that's great if you've got the players that have got the natural talent to take on that responsibility and create those moments. But that's the difference at him. I mean, the other big difference is away from the pitch.
Yeah.
I mean, Enzo was a little bit sensitive about the media to start with, but he was also, and he would say what he thought as well.
Yeah.
And he certainly did on a number of occasions. But Steve's taken on a much more aggressive approach to challenging authority. After the David Coots incident against Villa, when he got a yellow and Tate got a yellow, his assistant, 4 yellow cards for the players, 20 grand fine for getting around surrounding the referee. He came in and he was very strong in that press conference, saying that the standard of refereeing isn't to the level that the Premier League, the quality of the Premier League is. Obviously, we've had the PSR situation, and then he was talking about fighting, regardless of how that decision was going to go. He and the players were determined to fight. And then, obviously, we've seen what he's been saying about the Crystal Palace first goal, the VAR controversy about whether Mateta was onside, offside.
What was your thoughts, Rob, looking at the images in that?
Well, I tweeted on Saturday night because I didn't. But this is the thing. So we saw at the ground, we saw one image on the screen, and normally we had in the past been able to see how they figure it out. So you see the still image, they pause it when they think the ball is being struck.
Then the lines and all
one
that.
Line on, and move the line around, draw the little dots up, then move the second line on, and move. And it took a while. We're all sitting there going, "God, this is taking too long." At Palace, strangely, they went all through that and there was nothing. And then they just stuck one image on the screen because we have little monitors, and it was just Mateta, and he was way beyond Fars and Oli, and they drew just a green line in front of him, and the little moniker came at the bottom, onside. Well, we didn't see anything. We didn't see Tyreek Mitchell playing the ball. We didn't see James Justin's outstretched leg. So it all was very confusing, and it just raised very big doubts because the linesman was adamant he was off, and he did look off because the press box is at Palace. It's right along that penalty box, and I think everybody around us thought it was off. But then we went into the press conference after the game, and Steve came in, and he said, look, and he challenged them. Then he was saying, we want to see a definitive image. That image doesn't reveal anything to us. And now he would have seen stuff from the analysts, because the analysts put up cameras around the pitches for the debrief in the games. So they got their own footage to analyse. So you would have seen something there that would have suggested that image and that verdict was wrong. So he was challenging the club to go and challenge the VAR effectively. What was interesting is whilst we were having that press conference, about 40 minutes after the final whistle, a second image was published by the Match Centre. And this did have Mitchell and Justin in it. And they drew the green line again, and there was little dots up to JJ's toe. And they ran that line, and it ran, but it was a very strange angle, and it ran across Mateta. But they didn't put any dots up to Mateta to show whether he was in front or behind. So it was still inconclusive to me. And if you looked at the shadows of the players, Mateta's shadow was beyond James Justin's shadow. So that was a little bit of it. So I tweeted, this is very unconclusive. I can see why the club are asking the question here. But then to have the meeting on Monday with the PGMOL and Martin Atkinson, and then to get to Thursday when you think, the dust is going to settle on this, but we didn't still know the outcome of it. Well, the outcome is always going to be inevitable.
Yeah,
you can't change it. But he was very, very strong in Thursday. We knew he was going to say something, but
not managers do.
But he started to talk about it in a response to a question that wasn't anything to do with VAR. And then he obviously people followed up on that then, and he was very strong in terms of that they had found definitive proof and presented it to PGMOL. This was a terrible mistake, embarrassment for PGMOL. And he was very strong on that. And I did ask when it got to the written section, because there's two sections in a press conference: the broadcast, which you see on the TV, and there's a written section where, like myself and the newspaper guys, we ask stuff that's embargoed to be run later on. And I said to him, "What did you hope to gain from this?" And he said, I want the fans, the players, and the club to know that we're going to stand up. We're going to stand up and defend. And if we've had the Coots incident, we've had the fine, we've had this, and we're not going to accept it. And we're going to. So it was real fighting talk. So I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be quite an aggressive manager in terms of defending the club, in terms of making sure they're not seen as a walkover. I mean, because I think there would have been a hell of a lot more made of that incident if it had been a Man United, Liverpool, or Arsenal, Man City. I mean, bless him. Gary Lineker tried to raise it on Match of the Day, and he got shot down by the other ones where they were saying, "Oh, you're insane, actually, a Leicester fan." And he said at first, he sort of chuckled, and they went, "Well, no, I'm not actually." He thought he was offside as well. So I think if that had been Man City, you would have seen a lot of the analysis of it. But I think what upset Cooper was the fact that he said they'd seen footage, broadcast footage. So that I take that as being from the TV crews filming on the day, broadcast footage and their own footage that they collected. As I said, they put these little cameras up around the pitch. And it said it was inconclusive. Sorry, it was conclusive that at the point of the ball being struck by Mitchell, Mateta was offside. And they claimed that VAR had placed that point of contact on the ball fractionally afterwards, when Mateta would have been onside. So, but then obviously you have to check these. You go to PGMOL and say, offer your right reply. They never speak on the record, but they'll say, look, basically they said, we followed all the protocols. We measured when the ball was struck, as we always do, and we're convinced there was no error, no human error, no issue, and the decision was correct. So it's a complete impasse. But I think a line has been drawn that Cooper's going to challenge them. And of course, in the background, Jack, you're going to get loads of conspiracy theories, aren't you? That Premier League are embarrassed by the winning of the case. The EFL even issued a statement. It wasn't anything to do with the EFL. The EFL issued a statement as well, saying this is wrong. I mean, as we've said on here many times, the EFL are waiting. If Leicester don't stay up, they're waiting with transfer embargoes and with business plans, and they'll hit them hard. As I've described, like the crocodile in Peter Pan waiting for Captain Hook to fall off the plank. That's what it is at the moment. So that all this is going around. So that creates this sense of conspiracy theory that, and I've seen a lot of fans say it. Well, that shows if they can't get the points deduction through the legal process, they're going to get it through. Which I don't think is true at all. But I can understand why people are getting to that sort of conclusion a little bit with some of the things that happened early in the season. So it's going to be interesting to watch over the coming weeks how Steve Cooper copes with certain things. And certainly we're going to talk about Everton. Big game for both clubs, but it's a big game for Cooper as well because he hasn't won yet in the league. And on home soil as well, in a game where he's going to be expected. The team are going to be expected to beat Everton. There's going to be pressure on this fixture. I wouldn't say it's going to be season defining. People talking about 6 points and must win. We're only in the 5th game.
I know.
But it does feel like it's a little bit more important than the other ones so far.
Both are, in the league, you think. And if we can get 3 points there, it's 5 points ahead of them.
And I think as well that for Cooper as well, with some of the fans that are not quite convinced by him, we've seen how patience can be a little bit thinner than it used to be at Leicester. Expectation is high. There could be some fans that turn if they don't get the victory.
Yeah, I agree. Let's talk about Leicester Everton. What has Steve Cooper had to say ahead of this game then? Obviously,
mostly about VAR, Jack. Very little about Everton. Obviously he knows
the importance on Everton this season.
He knows it's how important this is for them. It's a great opportunity for him as well. It's not something they should be afraid of. No fear. Embrace that the pressure of the situation to go out and perform and put down a marker for the rest of the season, because I do think, despite the only 2 points returned from 4 games, there has been moments in those games where you can see there's something there that then they are going to be able to compete if they can find the quality in the final third. Cut out some of these silly goals.
It's that clicking, isn't it? We need
once it clicks. But we're still waiting for some of these new signings to come in. As we said, we haven't seen El Canoes really. We only saw a little cameo. And Edouard, what are they going to?
Bonotto's been good.
Bonotto's been good, but he's got these issues. They've got to look after him. He's only a young kid. It's a bit worried that he's got this groin issue at his age that stops him training. But but El Canoes is the one I'm waiting to see. I mean, I've been speaking to a lot of people that know him, that have played with him, coached him for a feature that's running next week, and they just talk really, really highly of the lad. And as I said, there's a sense that Leicester might have had a bargain out of Genk. Genk might have had might have sold one of their prize assets for below market value. So, and I think this might be the sort of game, as long as he's up to speed fitness wise, this might be the sort of game you throw him in. And be a bit braver in terms of the final third, because there will be pockets of space, I think, that people need to find. I don't think Wilf will be able. I think Everton will sit deep.
Yeah,
but I think if you've got somebody that's got the ability to find space naturally, like Maddison used to do, then this could be his type of game.
I agree. Leicester have got to get at Everton from the start tomorrow, aren't they? They did it against Palace. They got at Palace from the off, and we didn't really see that in the first 3 games previous, where we think, we've waited for like the second half sort of thing, and where we are in the second half, and we've seen a lot more fight in the second halves, and then obviously the Palace game came, and we started off really well, Mavropanos, Vardy, and all them link-ups and that. I thought we had a phenomenal performance in the first half. A bit defensive second half, shall we put it. Dawn talks about getting the subs right tomorrow. Would you agree with what Dawn's saying there about the substitutions? Do you think some of them have really been premature with Cooper, with the timing, and which players he actually brings on, Rob?
I'm still gauging his approach to substitutions. I mean, we saw at Palace that they were very defensive and cautious, because he was reacting to them pushing 6 into attack for the final 10 minutes with a bit of a siege. You could argue, I mean, obviously in hindsight, you still end up, you've conceded to a disputed offside and a rather silly penalty in the last minute. But they did sort of stand up to that quite a bit. But yeah, I can understand why some fans are questioning some of the substitutions at certain points, the decision making there. But also, sometimes we don't know the physical condition of some of the players at the time. We're still early into the season. There's still people trying to get up to speed, match fitness wise. There'll be some people that can't go beyond 70, 75 minutes, and they start to fade. So he's got to make a change. Well, as Buonanotte is a great example there, because we didn't know anything about this groin issue. And I don't think Leicester did when they signed him. I think this is something that's appeared, and they had to have that scan pre the Palace game. So, there's all sorts of elements that go into that. But so I'll take my time to judge whether his substitutions are going to be effective or not. But they have rallied in second halves of games, but they've been slow starting, as we've noticed. And I wonder whether that's still a little bit of a tentativeness about what happened 2 years ago to the ones that were involved. A little bit of fear of making mistakes early doors, and a little bit of tension of getting to know Cooper, getting to know new teammates, getting to know the new style of play. So, but we're getting to the stage now, really. They've got to start hitting the ground running in games. Can't be waiting in games anymore.
No, I think this one's pivotal for us to go and win. It's a must-win game for Leicester. Obviously, Everton will look to come and upset the apple cart, won't they? Obviously, what's been your thoughts on the opposition? I mean, Sean Dyche has obviously spoke about this game. Obviously, he spoke about Michael Keane missing and maybe Tarkowski and players like that, some key players for Everton going into this one. I mean, what do you think their mindset is going into this one as well? Obviously, the last two games they've played, they've gone 2-0 up and lost 3-2. How do you think Everton go into this game as well with Leicester?
Well, obviously they're hurting. I mean, to go have two games where you're 2-0 up, and then to lose both games, that must be devastating. For them, and obviously confidence will be incredibly low. They'll know that Dyche is going to be under pressure now. They're playing for their manager as well at the moment. I suspect a really determined, steely, committed Everton to come out. I mean, a Dyche side, you know what you're going to get from a Dyche side. They're going to be like that. Sometimes the quality or the attacking intent of a Dyche side can be questioned. But they're always committed and usually well drilled. But they've got so many holes at the back. Tarkowski and Keane, but two players that Leicester have tried to sign in the past, looking all over the shop at the moment. There's so many silly errors being made and people just switching off, and it must be very frustrating for Dyche at the moment because that's not what his teams are known for. Burnley was always resilient in many ways. So yeah, but as I said, Leicester got to go into this with a bit of confidence. I know that there's the fact that they threw a 2-goal lead away as well at the weekend, but there were signs in that game away from home. And I have to say, the teams that Leicester have played so far this season, Palace haven't had the best of start, but we know what last season they're an effective side. And the other teams, been Tottenham, Aston Villa, who look on fire at the moment. And if you look at the way they dispatched Burton young boys on the other night, and then Fulham, who've really spent a lot of money this summer to try and take the bit similar to how Leicester were in previous years, to try and take that next step, getting Smith Rowe in and so many others. So it's going to be a good test for Leicester. I mean, this is as a newly promoted side, these are the sides that you're thinking, right, we've got to finish above them. To give ourselves a chance. This is where we've got to finish because Everton have been there or thereabouts around relegation for so many years now. Sooner or later, you run out of luck. And this could be their season where their luck runs out. So, but Leicester have got to take heart and confidence into this one.
We've got to go and exploit their weaknesses, haven't we, Rob?
Oh yeah.
It's one that Leicester, I'm sure, have looked at. I'm sure, Steve Cooper's got a plan together to think, this is where we can exploit Everton. And, Everton's a bit mixed in it, the feelings at the minute in it regarding Dyche and where his future lies, and then the fan base are not happy with the type of things that are happening at the club at the minute, and they expect a lot more from Everton, their fans, which you should at a club. You should expect your side to go and compete and give 100% in a game, and I guess that sometimes they've not, which I think you could look at this season with them, where they've really struggled and they've been shipping in goals, haven't they? Quite a lot of goals, and it's not something that Sean Dyche would have wanted. They've got to stop that. I think Leicester, Jamie Vardy, who Everton would know quite well, loves a goal against the Toffees, and I think he'll be one there tomorrow. Let's have a look at the last time these two sides met. It was the relegation season. 2-2. That back then was a must-win game for Leicester. We only ended up getting a point.
Yeah.
Jamie Vardy scoring in that game as well. Seunchu getting on in the goals. Maddison's penalty miss, and Calvert-Lewin and Co getting the goals for Everton. But yeah, a bit of a. What did you take out of last time round?
Well, it was around that period. There was the Everton game, and I think it was the Villa game as well, where
Yeah,
it felt like Leicester were going to get the wins, and that would really kickstart the escape. They couldn't get over the line, and I think after those moments, you thought the writing might be on the wall. I mean, Maddison's miss. He was trying to take on so much responsibility around that period.
Yeah,
He was trying to be a leader as well as being the creative spark and the inspiration on the pitch. He was trying to be the inspiration off the pitch as well, in the dressing room, and he was just trying to do so much. I can't remember which game was it. Where he gave, was it Bournemouth where he gave the ball away on the edge of his own?
ended on the
Yeah,
goal, didn't he?
yeah. You know, he shouldn't have been there in that position, but you know, he was trying to make everything happen all the time. And then you would have had your money on him putting that penalty away, and it didn't happen. And
Pickford read it well, didn't he?
Yeah, so yeah, it was one of those afternoons where
that goal goes in, we win.
That's it. What I said about, you know, sometimes your luck runs out, your numbers up, and that season it certainly was, and that was one of those afternoons where you thought, right, it could be on the wall here.
I agree. Rob, let's go into the starting 11. We'll do an 11 on lineup builder. We'll put an 11 together. We'll do the formation. Let's get it up. There it is. What formation are we going with, Rob? What do you reckon?
Well, he'll definitely stick with the one he's got at the moment, 4-2-3-1.
Okay, we'll go with that.
I mean, it's very hard to call the system because it changes depending on. I mean, obviously it's a 4-4-2 out of possession, with the third midfield player becoming a 10 and pushing high. But yeah, I mean, you can go with that as it is at the moment. I think that'll probably be the lineup. I think he'll stick very much to the back four that he's had.
Yeah.
Obviously, Hermansen's a given in goal. I mean, he's a top quality goalkeeper. He's definitely the keeper, and hope to God that he stays fit throughout the season.
Goal, yeah. What about the defence? I mean, fans have questioned Ricardo. I mean, I'd like to see Ricardo in the team as much as everybody would.
Yeah.
What's been your thoughts on Ricardo not playing? I mean, what is it?
Right.
The issue with Steve Cooper not picking Ricardo, Rob?
Well, the only thing I can think is that he's always spoken about physicality, being aggressive, but having Leicester being more of a running side, wanting athletes in the side, and that's why he's gone with Victor Christensen and James Justin, because they are two fullbacks that can get up and down, up and down, up and down constantly. The question mark with Victor Christensen is whether he's got the quality in the final third to when he gets there. I think James Justin is the sort of player that can also play as a third centre back as well, so that gives him the edge in that. And I don't think Ricardo Pereira could be a third centre back. I liked him in that role last season where he was stepping into midfield. You know, he could be an option sitting in midfield. I just wonder whether he's looked at the physicality of his fullback options and decided that James Justin and Victor Christensen at this moment are the more athletic of his options, and he's gone for that rather than the ball player that is Ricardo Pereira.
So are they the two we're going to go with then for
left
back?
I think that's what he'll go with. Yeah, James. I don't think there'll be too many changes in the back four. Well, there won't be any changes in the back four.
Get rid of that. So we'll go with the same back four. What played Palace? Vass can play with.
Yeah.
We'll go with
Coley. Really been impressed with him so far. Vass has made a slow start to the season for me. I don't know whether that's to do with the Euros or what, but he just seems a little bit to switch off a little bit in key moments. I mean, that we talk about the offside Mateta goal. If he'd just come across and just cut out the cross and decided to defend it, there wouldn't even been a debate. So far, there's a little bit an issue for me at the moment. Then obviously Harry Winks will start, as he will every game, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I think alongside him, although he won't play alongside him throughout the 90 minutes, will be Ollie Skip.
Oliver Skip, yeah. And then we've got the front. And then we've got the front four. should we call it?
Should we deal with the number 9 first, because he's
Go on
definitely
then.
starting. Jamie Vardy, he's definitely starting.
We'll put Vardy in there first.
Started the season in great form. Two goals in 4. Been a menace. Led from the front. Right now, this is where the side will start to change him, I think. Now, I think he'll stick with Mavididi after his performance last week on the left, and he will play as the wide player. And I think he's seen as well enough of Jordan Ayew as playing as an inside player to play off the right, and that will mean James Justin will have to be the fullback that comes forward. This is the talking point in here behind Jamie Vardy. Who do you put
there? Is it Wilf? Is it Buonanotte?
Well, Wilf did very, very well, and it will be hard on Wilf to drop him for this game after his performance at Palace. But as I said, it's a different game.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally think Cooper will go with Wilf.
Yeah, so
I'd go with Elk. I would, as long as he's ready. He's got through the sessions. He's had a couple of weeks now with the lads to work. I would go with Elkanus. That's my opinion. Sooner or later, you've got to give this guy a chance. You've got to go see what he can do.
That's a winnable 11. Now I'm not gonna lie.
But it all depends how they approach it, the attitude. Yeah. I like Steffi. I think Steffi's direct. He's got a little bit more experience than some of the other lads as well. Although not Premier League experience, but he has been around Europe. So yeah, that would be the side that I would send out at the moment as things stand. I mean, as I said, the area of the team that I've got a little concern about is Fars at the back. I think he's a little bit susceptible at the moment. He needs to get his confidence back and be a little bit more switched on. But that would be the side that I'd send out against Everton.
I think with Winks and Skip, you can't really drop that type of midfield. I mean, you've seen how good there was together against Palace. Oliver Skip, £20 million. He's really starting to, get worth of his money. He's been brought in to do a job, and I think he's done that. In the last couple of games, I've been very impressed with him. Jordan Ayew, work rate, Mavididi, big, strong, powerful winger to get at them Everton fullbacks. Fass and Akoli, I think they're going to have a job doing with Calvert-Lewin, aren't they? And then you've obviously got the front, Jamie Vardy, I think he'll be looking for a goal in tomorrow's game. Maybe Buonanotte, obviously a lot of the fans rate him. They say you shouldn't fall in love with a lone player. And Buonanotte is, like he says in an interview, he's very happy at Leicester. Indeed, it's good. It's very good how he feels on and off the pitch. And, it's very good that he's happy at the club. Hello, Haley, how are you? Free Ricky P. He will lift the crowd, which will turn the players no-brainer. Yeah, I get it. I get the whole Ricky P situation, and I'd like him to start as much as the next person. But the thing is, I'm not the manager, and Steve Cooper is. But Rob, I'm going to ask you one more question. Score prediction.
I think Leicester are going to win this one. Yeah, I think it's going to be a nervy game. So I reckon about 2-1. I think, I don't think they're going to have it all their own way. There's going to be periods where it's going to be a bit anxious, and I can imagine a bit of a nervous KP. But I just think they might get over the line in this one, and that will get them going, because this is the thing about the run of fixtures. You've got Arsenal away next, right? Okay, so you can sort of ignore that, but then Bournemouth, Southampton, Forest, Ipswich, up to the Man United and Chelsea games. That's a period of fixtures, really, where you need to be targeting points and significant points, really, to put yourself in a good position. So I think this one's one of those games where it's really important they take something from it, and hopefully that first victory. And I think there'll be some celebrations when they get that first victory at the King Power Stadium, and the first one under Steve Cooper, and that can just release people a little bit, and release the players, release the pressure a little bit, and they can go on and express themselves a little bit more. And if they go to Arsenal and put on a performance there, and look like a side that can upset the elite,
cause problems.
Yeah, suddenly the confidence, even if you lose, your confidence then going into that run of games I just mentioned, it's going to be a little bit stronger. So so I think they'll get over the line tomorrow. I'm hoping fingers everything's crossed. They get over the line tomorrow, and then we can start to see the season build.
I agree. I think they felt really disheartened, didn't they? Some of the players' Instagram posts and after that Crystal Palace game, how much work they put in and effort, and yeah, just a shame that they couldn't get it over the line. And obviously, the likes of Jamie Vardy and that, will pick them lads up after that Palace game and say, we've got Everton next weekend. It's one that we can go and really perform and show what we're about. We're not here to make up the numbers, Rob. We're here to stay in the division.
So important. Stakes
It's
could
that
not be higher,
fighting
Jack. As
talk,
we
innit?
as we've mentioned, the stakes could not be higher. It's not just relegation; it's the impending ramifications of relegation if they went back down.
Yeah, I agree. Rob, thanks for coming on, mate. Do
No problem.
appreciate it. I'm going to go 2-1, so I'm going to back you on that one. I'll go with Vardy to score. I
And
tell you
mate,
what, I'm gonna go Oliver Skip to score as well. Actually, that'd be a different one, but yeah, 2-1 for me. I think it'd be a good game. I think we can go and get our first win tomorrow. It's one that could really, like you say, kick on our season. And I think 5 points on the board, everyone would take, if we can get a win tomorrow and going into Arsenal with some real confidence, going really put on a performance there. And then, like you said, the big games which come after the Bournemouth, Forest, Ipswich, Southampton. It's games that are winnable games for us that we can, have got to go and get as many wins as we can out of them games. But Rob, before I let you go, let everybody know what you do at the Athletic, mate, for people who have just joined.
yeah. Just I'm the Leicester City correspondent. I do other stuff like England as well, but I do mainly Leicester City. So and we do more in-depth stuff and features, and we pick talking points out and examine those in features during the week. So yeah, check it out.
Cheers, Rob. Take care, mate, and fingers
Cheers.
crossed 3 points.
See you later.
Cheers, Rob. That was Rob Tanner. Great guest, great chat. Feel positive about tomorrow. I do. Big game, massive game. And, we've got to go out and win that game tomorrow, to be fair. We need the 3 points, which is going to be crucial. And, yeah, let's go and get the King Power rocking tomorrow. Be that spot, man. Get behind the team and let's push the Foxes on tomorrow. Also, go and check out the Premier League predictions for week 5. Go and see what we predicted in that one. Next Wednesday, we have got X Fox in the Box, the first episode on the channel, where we chat with Paul Konchesky, the ex-Leicester City fullback, about his career at the Foxes and much more. So, yeah, join us for that next Wednesday. That'll be at 8 o'clock. We'll try and get the X Fox in the Box, where we get many ex-Leicester City players on the channel to come and talk about their careers, and you guys get your questions in as well. So, yeah, good thing to do there. My American Foxes, especially Reed, Rob Tanner, absolutely 100% in full voice, fantastic. Guys, as always, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed already. Please get down and do so. It'd help me out massively if you can do that. If you're watching us on playback, let me know what your thoughts are on what me and Rob have discussed regarding the match preview. And yeah, big game tomorrow. And come on, the Foxes. Take care, everyone. Have a great rest of the evening. And keep it at the final whistle. Hi all, thank you for watching the final whistle. If you enjoy all our content, please remember to smash a like, share and subscribe to the channel.